Hello everyone, my name is Stephen Bell, aka Stakuyi, and welcome back to another official dev diary for Ara History Untold. If you're with us here on YouTube, then make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as we release new episodes every week here on this channel. Also be sure to sign up for the Insider Program, as our next technical alpha will be available soon for eligible members. The Insider Program is free to everyone, and you just need to fill out your survey with your PC specs to see if you meet the minimum requirements. And I'm excited for today's episode as we're going to be exploring the AI system behind Ara's leaders. To help make sense of all this, I am thrilled to introduce our guest for the day, William Smith Chambers, software engineer at Oxide Games. So Will, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks so much, Steven. It's great to be here.
This is going to sound like a dumb question here next. I get it, but can you describe exactly what a software engineer does?
Sure. So a software engineer, especially at Oxide, is a really broad role. We have people that are like just super down deep in the engine. We have people that create new programming languages. I am the lead of the AI for Ara. So I spend a lot of time with game designers sort of coming up with new things for the AI to do, collaborating on how should a game system interact with the AI, and talking with my colleagues who write programming languages to, come up with theory on how is the AI going to function at like a logical level. And then I spend all of the rest of my time architecting the software and implementing it.
Okay, well, awesome. With that covered, let's go ahead and head into the AI system of Ara itself. To give us a basic understanding, can you walk us through how AI usually works with a 4X strategy game? And then I guess from that, what makes Ara's AI unique?
Generally speaking, 4X AI is like some of the most advanced AI that you can really find in a game. A lot of AI is very basic. If you look at that shelf back there, there's a book, and it is sort of the Bible of AI. It's called Russell and Norvig, and it's known to everybody that studied AI. Really, you only need the first chapter to do most games. 4X games are a lot harder. And that's because the sorts of decisions that an AI has to make in a 4X game, if you do it in the simple, straightforward way, are impossible for a computer to solve. So people like Brian Wade, who's my boss, creative director, and does a lot of, he wrote a lot of AI for a lot of other 4X games. He and I collaborated on part of this AI, and what he does is really the artistry of taking a program and making it work to approximate solutions to those problems, and that's what's been done classically for all other 4X games. Our approach on Ara is different because Ara is different. Ara requires a much farther ahead, longer-term planning than previous games require, and because of that, you actually can't apply the classical 4X approach to Ara and expect to complete it in any meaningful way. So what we have is a brand new, to my knowledge, and I have checked, the only system in the industry that does abstract long-term planning, which is a field of classical AI that I'm familiar with, studied all through my master's. And the point is to allow AI systems to, rather than grapple with all of the intricate complexity of every decision they have to make, which is the usual way, and just falls apart for games like this, they think in the abstract, long-term ahead, like people do, and then they have another cooperative AI system that completes all of the minutiae of those plans once they've been planned out in abstract.
So those are like two different systems.
Yeah, two compatible systems the way that the human brain works. You've got one sort of abstract part of your mind that's thinking way far ahead, but not getting into the details. And then when you're actually acting on those intentions, like you can set a goal for yourself long in the future, break it down into smaller parts, and then your more automatic part of your brain can complete those things as they come up. But it doesn't need to grapple with the complexity of the long-term thinking immediately.
And so how does that affect the players with the AI system? Like what are the players going to be looking forward to as turns progress and things are happening on screen in front of them?
That was the point of the system, right? Like we set out to make something cool because we love it, but the entire idea was always gameplay motivated. And it was to address frustrations and shortcomings in previous AIs, namely something called hysteresis, where they'll sort of change their mind or do something that doesn't make sense, or in cases where heuristic methods fail, which is like, an approximate sort of mathematical solution to a problem. Like, for example, when does an AI surrender at war? Well, if it can't plan ahead, which bear in mind that previous systems can't, they have to just guess. They have to come up with stuff from the game and try to decide sort of arbitrarily if they're going to surrender or not. Our AI can actually think all the way through the process of conducting a war, down to the economic details, all the way into, the flavor of how that leader would behave, and make those decisions much more concretely. So what we hope to offer is a much more consistent experience that delivers both in gameplay and historical flavor.
I'm remembering certain games that I played in the past of AIs declaring war on me and then the exact next turn asking for peace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about there. Ara is a grand strategy game in which players are going to be coming back again and again. How can they expect that things are going to be different with their game each time? Because if it's going to be randomized here when it comes to the cards, what else is going to be different?
One of the things that sets Ara apart is how integral resources are to every decision that you make. And that makes the map integral to every decision that you make, and our maps are procedural. So the procedural map's going to happen, these AIs are going to land, and they play the game very much like you do. They land, they look at their surroundings, they make a plan for how they want the game to play out, but then things aren't going to go their way, and they're going to have to adapt. So the combination of those two things, the fact that the starting conditions are different and the fact that they can adapt to anything that happens inside of the game, means that you can get a richly varied gameplay experience every single time. Try something different, see a different result.
So now let's go a little bit deeper into how all this is going to work exactly during gameplay. In several grand strategy titles, AI can be a little bit cumbersome. Really, it can, especially when it comes to the late game, when turn times stretch out and everything gets longer and the player is sitting there for a while waiting for all of the different AI and NPCs to go and finish their moves. Has Ara done anything to try and address those specific issues?
That was actually a big design consideration from day one. In early talks, Brian and I sat around and thought about, what do we not like about turn times? And actually, part of Ara's conception was, what do we not like about sitting around and waiting for turns to finish? Well, everything. We don't like that. So we created simultaneous turns in Ara to address that. But that was actually a very fundamental gameplay shift, because what it means is that each AI actually doesn't have the information about what the player did during their turn. That is a problem in that it makes the AI problem harder, but it allows us to actually run the AI at the same time that the player is making their decisions. So we can have this advanced AI and it can think ahead and do all of this advanced stuff, all while you are thinking. On the scale of human thinking, the AI will be done much before you are.
So now I'm saying this right now. In other 4X games that I played, war is something that can come very quickly and becomes almost stupidly easy, or in other situations, completely unavoidable. And it's frustrating. Like when a medieval society declares war on my modern industrial state that I have built up, which is very obviously going to get curb stomped, but I don't know why they do it. How does Ara approach that issue?
Yeah, so I mean, we might want to do that because it's funny, and you can build things into the AI to make it do something that's funny. We have that possibility, but the other thing is, because your AI can plan all the way ahead in Ara, it will consider the entire implications of how this war is going to affect the economy, whether it makes sense for the leader's personality, and so on. So there's much more consideration that can go into it, and because we can plan ahead, we have much better data to make that decision. So the decision should make a lot more sense to begin with. As far as war becoming unavoidable, the same applies to the rest of the diplomacy system. Unless the AI has something to gain by going to war with you, or it's funny, they won't do it. And that means that we hope that the entire aim of that system is to reduce frustration, but it also increases immersion and tells a better story historically.
One of the other things that I saw when it came to like diplomacy and AI, I guess, is that there was research agreements in the game with other nations, and that is something that does sound intriguing. So how does that work? How does the AI handle this?
So research agreements were designed, especially around the single player experience, to make engaging with the AI interesting. Why? Because research agreements present the player with an interesting choice of, do I want to start this agreement, which benefits both of us, benefits me, gets me access to technologies that I might have discarded, which is huge, but it gives them the same opportunity. How do you weigh that decision? How do you decide whether or not to do it? The AI can make all of those same decisions. So they may reach out to you with a research agreement in good faith that benefits you and gives you your technologies, or they might be playing you in a longer game that they have inside of their own machinations. And that's something that other 4X AI just can't do.
So they're being smart. Okay, well, if they're being smart, here's the question. Does AI cheat? Because I mean, I played a lot of games, and I know these. It can be really immersion breaking when you have some AI leaders or forces that end up having more money or units than they probably should have at some point, because for whatever reason, their piggy bank just happens to be double the size of yours and just happens.
Yeah, we've all played games like that. Especially, if you can peek into the fog of war a little bit farther than you think you should, and you see that they're just spawning units behind their lines. This was especially obvious in older titles. Again, because we can plan all the way ahead, the AI can plan ahead not only for itself, but also for you. And it can mind box with you and try to figure out what you're going to do, and therefore prepare for your assaults ahead of time without needing to cheat. The actual answer is yes, we do cheat, but not in the way that you normally do. The only time we cheat is to make the AI easier. or to adjust the exact game feel for a particular behavior that we might find annoying in testing. But the system is designed to be able to play the game in the same way that a player does, and that contributes to a lot of this feeling. And it also reduces the need to cheat substantially, almost to zero. When we do cheat, we'll tell you.
How then does the AI try to achieve victory here? What considerations go into it?
Every AI will make a plan from the start to the end. There's a list of goals that AIs choose based on certain conditions, and they will try to achieve those. It's the intuition of the game designer that really guides those victory conditions. Like, for instance, maybe your AI focuses on its economy and wants to build triumphs. Maybe it wants to engage in a lot of diplomacy. Those high-level goals are fairly concrete and fairly easy to understand. Gain prestige, get victory points, win. The exact details of how that plan plays out, or if it changes or not, are all handled by the planning system. So the victory conditions can be set and can be set very varied per leader, but even after that point, they might make a different decision based on the way that the game is going, or if something goes poorly for them, or if you invade them, and so on.
And I guess here in the end, then, I have one final question for you. Am I going to need to worry about any leaders like Nuclear Gandhi and Ara? Because look, I played a lot of the early Civilization games growing up, and I know how some of these things can turn out when it comes to leaders in AI.
So the team that made Nuclear Gandhi, the brains that brought that to you, were down the hall. And I've worked closely with them on this entire AI. Yeah, they're literally here right now. And we love that. We love the fun of it. We love, just the sheer comedy of the situation, the unexpectedness. It's all fantastic. So for our entire design process through the AI, we wanted to encourage moments like that, just be able to control when they happen. So in short, yeah, you should worry about it. You want to have a dialogue with a historical leader that has fun and fits most of the time. But sometimes you just want to have fun, and we've prioritized that as much as we prioritize anything else.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense then. Thank you so much, Will. I've learned a ton about Ara's AI system, and hopefully the fans went and learned something too here today.
Yeah. Thanks, Stevens. Thanks so much for having me. It's always great to talk about this stuff. I guess I'll go get back to work on TA3. There's a lot to do.
And thank you to our fans for watching. There's so much more to come, so you can stay up to date with the game by subscribing to our YouTube channel for future Dev Diary episodes. Follow us on the social platforms of your choice. Join the Insider program for an opportunity to play the game before launch. And don't forget to wishlist Ara History Untold on Steam. Lastly, we are giving away PC Game Pass codes on our brand new Facebook page every Tuesday and another code on Twitter every Wednesday, so be sure to follow and answer each week's prompt for your chance to win. Thanks again, and we will see you all next time.